the legal system and the law, friend or foe of the family?
Both. Depending on the knowledge of the judge and the attorneys, depending on the willingness to collaborate, to look at families and family law from a different lens, perhaps than how they were even trained in law school.
Okay. Do you find that most of the family law attorneys actually want what's good for their client, or are they looking for ways to profit financially off of the destruction of families? I mean, I've known a lot of people that have gone through the false allegations, and it would appear that it was actually the attorney who maybe suggested, you know, you need to file for a restraining order against this parent. And you're like, this parent has never been a problem in the past, but now we want the children, so in order to help you with child custody, file for a restraining order. I'm afraid of this person. And that's the seeds of alienation right there. Do you see that happening?
I do see that happening, and I think that it's the difference between a lawyer who is out to win at all cost and a lawyer who truly believes that part of their ethical and moral duty as a family lawyer is to protect the parent-child relationships as much as possible.
Okay. From your experience, and you may not want to answer this, but if you were to divide the attorneys up, the family law attorneys, can you give a percentage how many you are saying I'm out to win at all costs versus I really want to protect the families? Is that something that you have no clue on how to answer, or?
No, I can tell you, I can't really put a percentage on it, but I can tell you that for the most part, the attorneys I work with repeatedly are those who have the well-being of the family at heart. There are, that has been my broader experience than those who come in and don't feel an obligation to that. Even if they do, they maintain that their primary goal is advocating for their client, because that's the oath they took as a lawyer, that's what they were going to do, and help protect the best interest of their client. I say to those attorneys that protecting the best interest of your client is creating a situation for them to be the best parent they can be, and that is protecting their interest.
Gotcha.
And a friend of mine who was a lawyer before she became a counselor actually gave me that perspective. It really helped me understand, because I often gave a lawyer an excuse of, well, they have to do that. That's their job. They have made a professional oath to protect and advocate for their client. And yet I continue to see this other group of lawyers, I would say even maybe lawyers who were a bit younger, who had come out of law school later, you know, in family law, wanting to serve the family.
Okay. And I was wondering at the same time that the attorneys that are calling you may also be a little bit predisposed to seeking the better interest of the family because of the parental alienation and the destruction that they're seeing. Would that be a fair assessment?
I think that would be a fair assessment, and many of the ones who are just really out to win at all cost and play dirty somewhat, you know, like the example you gave of encouraging a TRO when maybe there's not really one needed.
Right.
Don't tend to call me very often. Yeah. And don't tend to agree to have me on their case either.
You're talking about the temporary restraining order, but even if somebody files for divorce right now, aren't there temporary orders put in place immediately by the judges as standard practice?
Not immediately. There are times when people file for a divorce and they have worked out the temporary details of how they're going to function from two different homes, rather amicably, and they don't need a legal order to define that.
Right.
You know.
And that's where I've looked at some of the statistics on divorce that, almost every divorce in Texas is a no-fault divorce. They're not filing for fault reasons. They will use this generalization of a no-fault. And in about 75% of those instances, from what studies continue to show, the one person who's being served is a reluctantly divorced spouse. And that might be the case where you say, okay, this person doesn't even know that he or she is being served, does not want the divorce, doesn't even know that there's a problem, supposedly, and then all of a sudden now you have filing for divorce. By the way, here's your temporary orders that the judge has imposed upon you, and you're like, what just happened here?
Yes, I would say that is, that they are entering into the divorce process at a different level or a different set of dynamics than two people who have discussed.
Right.
That, okay, this is not working. Yes, one of us is going to find another place to live. I'll go file, but the other person knows.
Yeah.
There's no surprises there.
Yeah.
Everything's above board.
Yeah.
That's already beginning as a very different type of divorce.
Right.
Than the one that you described.
So when you're talking about the no surprises, or the people that surprise the other spouse, that seems like that would be an environment in which alienation might be fostered more, that there might be a targeted parent more. Is that a fair assessment?
I think so, yes.